everybody, I'm Veronica Taylor, and I'm here today in the wonderful showroom of Oday Shakar. And we're going to be asking you, Oday Shakar, a few questions.
Fabulous.
So let's start off with where you came from. What is your background? Where were you brought up?
Oh gosh, well that's a big story. I was born here in Southern California, and at the age of 12, I actually left the country for the first time. I went to Iraq, where my parents are from. And during that time, I actually got to meet my aunt, who was a designer herself and studied in London. And she taught me the trade of being a fashion designer. From that point on, I just started focusing on what it was I wanted to do, and that was designing women's evening wear.
So let's start at the very beginning of when you knew you wanted to be a designer. What was the first step? Did you go to school? Did you reach out to other companies? Were you an intern? Like, what did you do to make your way?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think a lot of designers, they tend to think that, it's just about, being able to be a great illustrator or knowing great taste in fabrics, but there's so many aspects to actually becoming your own designer. And so I started at a very young age learning, actually in Lebanon. I worked under another designer as an intern. Then I came back to the States, and I just continued to further my education with art, studying any kind of art form I could to just better my skill as an illustrator. And then I went to FIDM, where I studied fashion design. And at the same year that I began at FIDM, I began interning for a menswear line and started learning the business aspect, production, manufacturing, and did menswear for about 8 years before launching my own women's wear evening line, which was where my passion is and has always been.
All right, so let's talk about manufacturing. I think manufacturing is so important when you want a very, very well done dress.
Yes.
How do you find a good manufacturer? Where do you start?
That's a great question. I actually was one of my biggest challenges. Although I'm trained and able to create and make my own dresses, evening wear is very difficult, and it's not one of those things you can just, hire anyone to do. So for me, I began by actually having my own in-house workers that created and sampled my designs. And soon I grew too big for that and could not handle the demand.
Let's talk about the design process and how technology nowadays helps you out.
I still love drawing everything by hand. And I usually start the process with drawing hundreds of sketches. And I narrow those down, and then I get into technical sketches. And even those I tend to do by hand at first. Although everything is now going to the computer, I think for my industry it's a little different in the evening wear world. The way the garment comes out in the end, you can tell the craftsmanship that's done by hand.
Oh, definitely. All right, are you ready for the lightning round?
Okay, here we go.
Would you ever use rayon?
Never.
Silk or chiffon?
Chiffon.
But
well,
chiffon
silk
silk.
chiffon.
See?
Yeah.
Trick question.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones or the Beatles?
Oh, Beatles.
Diana Ross or Cher?
Diana Ross.
Which one would you dress?
Cher.
Let's end this with a serious question. What's a great piece of advice for upcoming designers out there?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say to designers out there that are, aspiring, is to fasten your seatbelts for a really bumpy ride. That it's not easy and it's not glamorous behind the scenes as much as it is on the cover of magazines.